A surprisingly large number of children reach high school without the basic literary skills which are needed to cope with the pace and content of their new subjects. Many teachers, and parents too, find themselves bewildered by the extent of the problem and the necessity to choose between different and often competing programs of remedial teaching. This school cooperated with Monash University in a research project which was designed to study the effectiveness of two contrasting programs, both of which were aimed at tackling the problems of poor motivation and low achievement in reading.
Hello, Sharon, how are you?
Good morning, Mr. Reese. Is this the one I had last week?
Yes, yeah. Right, everybody should have their folders. Will you make sure that the pages you have for today's lesson are 41, 42, 43 and 44. And before we start, make sure that the top sheet at least has your name and today's date on it.
All right, girls and boys, would you write the heading and date on the board, please? Now, all looking up. Have a look at this picture. Hands up for some good descriptive words about this picture.
What I want you to do this morning is, and we've done this before, so you should have no difficulty with it. I want you to prepare a passage which you read onto a cassette, and you then play it back, and you follow the passage that you have read in your trend book. And your colleagues, your friends, and the other students on the desk, they listen as well. When you have completed this, I want you to prepare 3 questions about the passage that you have read to see, in fact, whether the boys or the girls at the desk that you are at, the table that you are at, whether they, in fact, understand it. And I want you to write those questions on the sheet.
Right, well, put your headphones on and we'll get started. You ready? Thank you. Ready to start?
Listen and look.
Well, what in fact you're looking at here are 2 different methods of remediation for children who are having learning difficulties. The one method we call the Audex method, which is essentially an audio-visual scheme which is programmed in advance and has, to a certain extent, all the principles of a teaching machine in that once it's set up, the program runs quite automatically and the children are wired into that program, and there is little or no feedback from it. It's controlled and measured in advance. The second program we call the trend program, which is as individual a method as we could in fact devise for these students, using a series of books which are programmed to fit the reading ages and abilities of these students. In other words, books which would suit the reading age of a child of 7 up to children of 10 or 11. And we're using cassettes, tape recorders, typewriters to provide as varied activity as possible and to make this method as individual as possible, and so that we can in fact contrast it with the Audex scheme. A further measure has been introduced by putting one group of children in a normal classroom situation for the 3 months. And we shall measure their performance at the end of the 3 months, exactly as we would with both the Trend and the Audex group. The children have been selected from the first year entry. We've screened all 200 children in the first year and come down to a group of about 40 children who are having some difficulty, primarily in the area of reading. And this is represented by the fact that these children have reading problems, so much so that they are at least 3 years below their chronological age on reading. They also, for the most part, show that they have a higher non-verbal IQ than a verbal IQ. And therefore, if we can improve their reading ability over a period of 3 months, we would hope that we would improve their overall classroom performance.
One day, Danny was finding answers to some riddles. Open your Audex book to page 43, and you'll see some of the riddles Danny answered. See if you can answer Danny's riddles. In exercise 1, complete each sentence by underlining the correct word. In the first sentence, did you underline eagle? Next, cradle. Then, castle. And last, needle. Did you notice that each word ends in the letters L-E, and that in each word there's a consonant before the L? Danny pondered and thought of some other words that end in L-E. As Danny divided them into the syllables he heard, he found it was easy to unlock words like these. Watch the screen to see how Danny divided some of these words into syllables. Cradle, needle, puddle, jungle.
In the dark, but solemnly, the beach was lit up. The lights were coming from somewhere near the kiosk.
I was wondering how I was going to see any penguins at all in the dark, but suddenly the beach was lit up. The lights were coming from somewhere near the kiosk.
John, what is a snowdrop?
A snowdrop is a person who's been made up in a fairy story and steals washing and tries to sell them.
Why did Fred and Skinny Louie felt quite safe as they stole across the dewy lawns?
Because everyone was in bed.
Why was Tiffany Bell shocked?
Because she was shocked by watching the snowdroppers steal the snowy washing off the lawn.
Who did Tiffany Bell ring?
Tiffany Bell rang the police.
What did Bluey see over the top of the hill?
Bluey saw the police car coming over the hill.
After Danny discovered how to divide words ending with a consonant L-E letter pattern, he ran to tell his father about it.
Hey, Dad, guess what I just found out? In all words ending in consonant L-E, those letters form the last syllable.
When Danny finished, his father said,
"Answer this riddle, and then tell me if that's always true. I'm thinking of a word that begins with the letter T. It's something someone does to you that makes you laugh. Did you guess the word? It's tickle. Even though this word ends with a consonant L-E letter pattern, it is divided after the consonant K, not before.
When you remember this, it's easy to read the name of one kind of blackbird, grackle. A grackle is a large blackbird with shiny feathers. Look at exercise 3. Use Danny's strategy to help you read each word in the box, then write the correct words in the sentences below. Check your first sentence. Mary liked to snuggle up in her bed and nibble on candy. Sandy thought it would be simple to find a title for his story. Some boys enjoy playing tackle in football. Turn the page in your Audex book and look at exercise 4.
Fine. Now, you've completed those now, haven't you? You're correct. Well, look, what I suggest you do is that you take that, give it to Pam, and ask her to type it. See if she can type it for you by the end of the period, okay? I want you lads to do this same sort of thing.
Could you always do it by end of period? Okay, by then.
Fine. Can you do that by the end of the period?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, good.
Afterwards. Burrows. Together.
Read the sentences in Exercise 6 and figure out the words in dark type. These words have either the vowel-consonant-vowel pattern or the vowel-consonant-consonant-vowel pattern or the consonant-LE pattern. Put a dot to show the correct syllable division of each word. In the first word, did you recognize the vowel, consonant, consonant, vowel pattern and read the word orbit? You now have several strategies you can use to help you read words that you don't know. If you use those strategies, you will have no trouble reading about the Labistus reticulatus in Exercise 7. You probably know that fish better by this name.
What I want you to do is to look very carefully at what Sharon is putting on this side of the board and Peter is putting on this side of the board. Sharon's writing what we call a gap exercise. You can do one of two things. You can either copy down the exercise that Sharon is putting on the board and fill in as best you can the missing words so that it makes sense of the passage. When you've done that, then I want you to look at this word sum or word attack exercise that Peter's putting on the board. He's put down a number of words on the left-hand side, and then after the equal sign here, he's broken the word down into syllables. We take this word here, yesterday. He's written yes plus ter plus day. Now you can either make a copy of the words that he's done, or fill in those that he's not yet finished, or better still, I want you to choose 10 words from the books that you've got in front of you and break them down into syllables. Okay?
Right, just before we pack up, can we all check the last one, exercise 7? The first word, guppy. You should have the dot between the two P's. G-U-P dot P-Y.
Well, the advantages of the Audex audio-visual program are that it is strictly programmed, that it is quite variable, and above all, that it is explicit. In contrast, the trend program is very loosely organised. It allows the children to work at their own level and at their own speed, and above all, it allows for pupil-teacher interaction. And this is one of its prime advantages, for this allows us the opportunity of tackling the problem of these children's low self-esteem. When we come to look at the post-test results after some 3 months of teaching, we find that there is no significant difference in reading accuracy and reading comprehension of the two groups. However, the children in the trend group have marginally improved their performance as compared to those in the Audex group, and above all, their attitude, we think, has improved quite significantly. However, when we come to examine these two programs as objectively as possible, we must conclude that at no time are they a substitute for remediation on an individual basis.
It's two words, isn't it? What does didn't mean? Did not, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. So if you were writing did not, how would you write it? You write did not down there.